Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Samantha and today we're going to be talking about books. More specifically, we're going to be talking about the books I read in my first year of graduate school. I'm currently a full-time student for a graduate program in English, and I don't know, I thought it would be fun to tell you guys like what I've been reading, what they've been requiring that I read in case like you were looking into graduate schools, or it's just like a fun thing to know, like I don't know, just interesting. This is going to be literally just texts, like novels. This is not going to be all the articles, all the journal articles, all of the manuscripts that I had to read. So this is not the only thing you're going to read. You're probably going to read like 3 to 4 articles for each class every week, and those articles can range from like 10 to 20 pages. I'm gonna start off strong, and let me get all of the editions I have together. On the Road by Jack Kerouac. Kerouac? I don't even care, because these books should never be reprinted. Let's just say that. I would never tell somebody that they should burn books. But if there was one that could just like disappear into non-existence and stop being called classic literature, this would be it. So I took a hippie and beat literature class as one of my extracurriculars, and we had to read this book. And I have to tell you, I'm not the one to say it. I promise you I am not the one to say it. But a white pretentious man pretends that he's prophetic and like has something to say. And he really doesn't have anything to say. This book is literally him traveling across America, being sexist and misogynistic and racist, and doing drugs and pretending like he has something important to say. And it was the most grating, most irritating thing I have had to read so far in my journey to like a graduate degree. This is bad. This is really bad. And then on top of it, for this class, because this professor was so obsessed with this book, we also had to read The Cool School it's edited by Glenn O'Brien. It's basically just a collection of stories about authors in this era of hippie and beat literature. And I had to read like 3 of the letters or stories about Jack Kerouac that is in here. Kerouac. I'm gonna say Kerouac because it's right. Anyways, and it was really just like a letter from his ex-girlfriend saying that he wasn't really that sexist, and then another letter from one of his best friends that was saying like he lived in this basement with his mom, but he really was like just a smart dude that had interesting things to say. Basically, I'm not a fan. So we're just gonna start off strong by telling you that. Then, in the same dang class, once again, this man had an obsession. To be fair, this professor admitted that he has a hard time teaching hippie literature and like using Jack Kerouac's works in his syllabus because he's found that the younger generation, and particularly females, do not like his writing. I wonder why, sir. I wonder why. Anyways, The Dharma Bums by Jack Kerouac. This was a little less grating, still pretty freaking bad. And then Why Kerouac Matters, the lessons of On the Road. They're not what you think. They aren't. I don't know. Anyways, this was probably the worst thing I had to read so far. And I had to read, like, literally this man could not, like, give it up. Give me something better in hippie literature, please. Or is this it? Is this it? I don't know, you tell me. Do you know something about beat literature, hippie literature, that we could like branch off from this, that I could offer to have him put on his syllabus besides this book? Because this was bad. It was bad. And the man loved him, alright? The professor loved him. He was like, when I was your age, this was really prophetic. Anyways, same class, read Planet News by Allen Ginsberg. This one wasn't that bad. This is a collection of poetry. I actually enjoyed this more than anything. I don't like poetry. I hated poetry. I hate poetry. I'm so sorry, but give it to me straight, because I don't have the ability to interpret things. So But to be fair, this one was probably good. I think we read Wichita Vortex Sutra out of this collection. It was decent. It was fine. It was like the Vietnam War era, so like a lot of messages about war and life and all of those things that I really appreciate and I enjoy. That's why I read a lot of nonfiction and fiction novels based around war and real wars. So that was a good one, right? Then we have Trout Fishing in America by Richard Boughton and Lawrence Ferlinghetti's Little Boy. This was both for the Beat and Hippie Literature class that I took. I don't remember most of this. To be fair, and I probably should have started off by saying this, but I haven't looked at any of these books for a semester, actually. 2 semesters, because there was summer break. And these are kind of like my raw thoughts about coming back to these, and like this is what I remember from it. And I can tell you that after I read On the Road, I was so disenfranchised with that class that I was really just trying to get through it. And like Lawrence Ferlinghetti wasn't any better than Jack Kerouac. It was still like white man writes, and I hate saying white man, but man writes about his life across the country where he screws a lot of women and does a lot of drugs. I don't know, that can't be all that hippie literature is about, but apparently it is for this professor. And then I don't remember anything from this. To be fair, I don't even know if I read it. So, don't tell anybody. I'm a fraud. In the same semester, I also read The Epic of Gilgamesh. This was for a bibliography and research course that I took. This was really, really good. Now, to be fair, I didn't pass this class. Oops. But I really liked this. And I'm really upset I didn't pass the class because I really like this. This is like an epic poem on like the same level of Beowulf. If you hear crinkling, it's my daughter. It's the baby. Okay. This is basically on the same level of like Beowulf. It was a poem written on tablets found in Mesopotamia and translated throughout like centuries, decades, lots of time, centuries. And all the different translations, how they found the tablets, how they decoded the tablets. There's a lot of missing parts and pieces. So it's a very interesting and intriguing piece of literature to read about just in those aspects. And then you add on the fact that the poem itself is really good. It reminds me a lot of like Beowulf and like Sir Gawain and the Green Knight, where you're getting a epic hero who comes from meager beginnings. There's a king. They get together, they go on adventures, they try to become immortal because neither one of them wants to die. As any story where someone tries to become immortal, they don't become immortal, and instead they show like the other side of humanity and life and all those things. And it's really interesting and intriguing that people centuries ago were contemplating the same things that we were, and they thought it was important enough to put on a tablet. And we're reading about it today. So like this was just one of those really cool existential moments of reading that I kind of appreciated. Now, the next class I took that we had a lot of books for was modern fiction. Okay, let me get into this. First off, The Sun Also Rises by Ernest Hemingway. If you've been around my channel for a while, you know that my goal was to read Ernest Hemingway, and I never got around to it. This was the perfect excuse. Definitely not as big of a fan of him as I am my dearly beloved John Steinbeck, but still just as good, still just as interesting. I think that this is like a level below, I don't even want to compare anything to On the Road, but this is like the lost generation. So this author and the characters that he's writing about, these are after the World Wars. I think World War I specifically. And it's really just like a reflection on the lost generation. So they experience this great traumatic war, and they don't know what are we doing now? Like, what's the point of it all? Why are we here? I have no motivation in life. Like, what am I giving to society? Is it okay for me not to give anything to society? Should I be like all these questions, right? And he's like bringing that to light in these very dynamic and interesting ways. The essay I wrote for this, I specifically remember because it was about the roles that females play in this book because of the way that female standards and societal expectations were like adapting in this era, and it shows a lot in his writing because he does have a female main character who's kind of badass. And it's interesting and it's fun. This one specifically, if you just want to talk about like synopsis, it's about a man and his group of friends. The men having returned from war, he comes home, he is rich, and he doesn't technically have to work, and he's trying to figure out like where he belongs. In this little friend group, they have like a world-class boxer, or I don't want to say world-class, I guess it was just like he was really successful in university for boxing. There's a female that travels around with them, and they go to Spain and they meet this Spanish matador, and the man, our main character, kind of identifies with this matador because he's like this, he has purpose in life and he wants to know how to get there, how to be like this matador. And it's intriguing, interesting. There's a lot of other dynamics that happen in this book, but obviously I enjoyed it because I'm still talking about it. So this was a goodie. The next book I read was Miss Dalloway by Virginia Woolf. This is my first Virginia Woolf book. It was okay. It was decent. I don't have really strong feelings towards it. I think this is a great example of modern fiction. This is definitely one that should be on syllabi. Virginia Woolf should be on syllabi across universities. This was really good. I remember something about like reverse metaphors. Like this was like evolutionary in writing, and that's why it was important. I don't remember really like feeling anything towards it, like The Sun Also Rises, or anything like crazy significant, but this was another book that I read for my graduate degree. The next one is The Crying Lot of 49 by Thomas Pynchon. This was a fever dream, and that's what it's meant to be. We're once again discussing modern fiction. It's meant to be like a fever dream, but it's like this woman goes undercover to uncover something that she doesn't know what it is. And it's crazy, and it's absolutely insane, and I don't even know what this was about or what the metaphor was, the overarching metaphor or messaging behind this book. And I literally had a lecture on this and a discussion on this, and I couldn't tell you. Interesting. I don't think I would recommend it to people as far as classics go, but I do just remember that I did a whole video about Mrs. Dalloway, by the way, on my YouTube channel, on this channel. So if you want to know more about Mrs. Dalloway, just go there. Yeah, there you go. That's it. Silly. Okay, so the next book is On Beauty by Zadie Smith. I'm actually writing another paper this semester on this book, and I plan on reading her other books. So this was a good one. The baby lost his mind, the cat lost his mind. We're having a fun time right now. Time out. I'll be right back. I can't promise that this frame is even remotely the same, but I had to handle mom duty. I had to take care of the baby, and I really don't want you to miss out on me talking about Zadie Smith's On Beauty because it is amazing. This is great. The synopsis of this book is that there are two families, both are higher class families, and they both have the dads, the matriarch, are both professors, and they both have very different ideologies on beauty. The main family, I should say the main family. There's no main character because they're all very important to the dynamics of this book. But the main family's matriarch finds, I guess he finds beauty in things that aren't beautiful, right? So he has this whole like complex about he doesn't like beautiful art. And it's a whole complex. And because of this, like, he's kind of looked down upon in the scholarly world because he has like this chip on his shoulder about beautiful things. He has a very difficult relationship with his wife Kiki, who is a 50-year-old Jamaican woman. I want to say she's Jamaican. And she is always described as not beautiful in the conventional senses, that she is still a vibrant, loving, wonderful human being, beautiful on the inside, beautiful, and like that comes out on the outside, right? Basically he, as a professor, not falls in love, but has like this obsession with one of his students who is conventionally beautiful, and you kind of see that fall apart. There's also his daughter who is in this and going to the same school as he is, what he teaches at, and her conversations about beauty and her struggle with finding herself as a female in the society where beauty is so valued. She has a brother who is struggling to find his cultural roots, and gets himself into a little bit of trouble. And yeah, it's amazing. Basically, it's just an amazing book that I would recommend everyone read. I'm gonna stop rambling about it. Like I said, I might make a whole video about this and give you like more like cut and dry thoughts about it, because it's wonderful. The next book I'm going to finish off on, honestly, just makes me sad. What is this? Oh, they're notes for class, and that's good to know. Zeal Neil Hurston's Tell My Horse. So, Zora, I'm sorry. The next book, a whole lot of emotions for, so bear with me. Zora Neale Hurston, Tell My Horse. So this is actually, it's not actually about the book that I have all these feelings for. It's actually the author herself. So I don't know when she was alive. 1930s. Zora was a black woman, highly educated. Like, I wish I had the same education that she did. Believe it was Cambridge. Highly educated writer. And not only writer, but she's also an archaeologist, philosophist, all these beautiful, amazing things. Obviously very smart. She also wrote Their Eyes Were Watching God. This was the book I read for my folklore class. It's Tell Me My Horse. She traveled all around the world, gathering for folklore, studying civilization, studying cultures, and she died penniless and in an unmarked grave. And we literally study her works in almost every course I've had so far. There's been mention of her, or I have read one of her books, or all of the above, right? Zadie Smith herself says her favorite book is Their Eyes Were Watching God. Am I saying that right? Yeah. Their Eyes Were Watching God. Okay? But this woman would never know, because she died penniless in an unmarked grave. And they didn't find where her grave was until we discovered her writing. Isn't that absolutely insane? You want to have an existential crisis? Think about that. She never knew that all of her work that she did impacts society today. Absolutely crazy. Anyways, I read this for a folklore class. I only had to read a couple chapters about voodoo. So if you want to not get into voodoo, good lord. If you want to read about voodooism if you want to read about folklore, cultures, voodooism, which is really interesting and intriguing, check it out. I do need to read Their Eyes Were Watching God after reading this. But really, it's just the author and her whole story that really hit me hard. Anyways, this is all for one. Did I say semester at the very beginning? I hope not. Look, to be fair, I am actually in the middle of finals right now. I just sent off all my proposals and annotated bibliographies and all of that this week. I just got done with one, which was late because I didn't remember the due date. It's been a rough time. All right, and then I know I have a rough draft due next week as well on a Wednesday, right before Thanksgiving. Thank you very much. And then finals. I'm going to have to write, maybe I'll take you with me. Do you want me to vlog? You guys can come along with me. I have to write 60 pages worth of proposal, seminar papers. I knew what I signed myself up for, so that's my own fault. Anyways, not too bad. If I could just cancel out, where are they? It really wasn't that bad. If I could just cancel out that one too. Those books. No one wants to read those books. But these ones weren't that bad. I was excited about all of these. I'm going to do this again this semester because I had a lot of fun doing this. And if you guys have read any of these books, if you are currently a graduate student, if you're looking to become a graduate student, tell me what's up, especially for English. Tell me what you want to do with it. Tell me any books that you are hopeful to read. I'm taking a British literature class this semester, and I'm kind of upset because it's early British literature. So I'm reading Beowulf and The Will of Hittily and what was another one? Sir Gawain and the Green Knight, not all the other British authors that I know and literature that I know that I would actually be interested in reading, but it still hasn't been too bad. Anyways, yeah, if you like this video, if you want to see more like this, if you want to see me read more classics, which I do on my free time as well, comment, like, and subscribe, and I will see you guys in the next video. Bye. Thanks for hanging on with me, because like this one was a mess.